Welcome back into Boston Has Entered the Chat. We are going to continue our Maxx Crosby potential Patriots landing spot conversation, and we have a lot to ask our next guest about this, cryptic tweets perhaps. We welcome in now Vinny Bonsignore, host of the Morning Tailgate on RNR 920 AM Raider Nation Radio. Vinny, how are you today?
I'm doing good, and not to rub it in, but I'm in California. It's like 75 degrees right now, so
you're rubbing it in.
I was looking at your guy in Florida. I was like, yeah, that looks really familiar right now.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I have the same weather right now. It is snowing here in Boston, so it is a joy to hear about how warm it is and beautiful.
I am so sorry. I'm sorry.
No, rub it in, because you know it's good for you to be there.
You know who knows a lot about snow though is Maxx Crosby. He played football in Michigan and went to school in Michigan, so he'd understand how to handle.
Are you hinting at handling New England?
Yeah, I mean, maybe he'd want to be here. The snow, you know what? If Maxx Crosby's listening, the snow is great. We love the snow. We love the cold. It's beautiful. You love it, Maxx Crosby, and you're used to it, as you said, Vinny. So my first question has to be about this tweet from Maxx Crosby, where he uses two emojis in this fear less, do more tweet, an eagle emoji and a diamond emoji. What, Vinny, does this mean?
Well, at the risk of playing right into his hands, he understands kind of the marketing and all that. You know, he has all of his podcasts, and so I wouldn't read too much into that. But what I would say is, I don't think anyone would blame Maxx Crosby right now at 28 years old. He's soon to be 29. He will be 29 before the season starts next year. To be balking at the most recent Raiders reset and rebuild. There's been multiple ones during his time with the Raiders. It's really led him nowhere. One winning season, one playoff appearance. This is a guy who kind of grew up idolizing a Kobe Bryant. He understands what legacies are all about. And part of your legacy is winning on the biggest stages and performing on your biggest stages. So I would say that it's safe to say that Maxx Crosby is looking around at colleagues hoisting Vince Lombardi trophies and playing on the biggest stages and saying, I want a little bit of that. And I think that's where we are right now. And we'll see if he's going to get that opportunity.
Well, you brought up Michigan. I might as well bring up Tom Brady, his part owner there in Vegas. It sounds like he had a sit down with Maxx Crosby. Was that just to maybe keep him around and, hey, the number one pick's coming and look what this whole rebuild, the new coach. It sounds like he wants out, but what type of impact does Tom Brady have on Maxx Crosby's decisions?
Well, I think more than his impact on Maxx Crosby. Look, the Raiders, would love to have would love to have Maxx Crosby back, but they're also being run a lot differently than they have been in the past. And while they're never going to come out and say, gosh, it would be really interesting to be able to see what we could get from Maxx Crosby to help expedite our own rebuild, our latest rebuild. But this is I think, smartly run organization, and the smart organizations make the most out of every situation, even difficult ones. Would it be difficult to move on from a Maxx Crosby? Yes, but it also can be invigorating because depending on what you get in return, and the Raiders aren't going to just give him away. They're operating from a great position of strength there. He's under contract with them. If they can work this into a really good haul that helps expedite their rebuild, then that's what really good organizations do too. So I think the meeting with Maxx Crosby, although I wasn't in the meeting, I would imagine it explored all the possibilities, and everyone probably laid their cards out on the table. And I think all possibilities are open. But I will say this: I don't think the Raiders are just going to give him away. They know what an asset he is and what he could mean to a team like the Patriots or the Bears or the Rams, et cetera, et cetera. And he's also a beloved part of their family and will always be. So they're going to do what they can to maximize the asset. And if that doesn't happen, if a team doesn't come correct with a viable offer and a realistic offer and one that would compel them to move on from him, then he'll be playing for the Raiders next year.
All right, perfect segue, because to that point, we've been debating for hours, maybe days and weeks here. What is the price point for a Maxx Crosby? Now, I was diehard to make sure that anything possible brings him here, but I am very stingy when it comes to my draft capital. So now I'm in this wounded position, Vinny, where I'm like, what's the cost here? And are the Raiders going to put themselves in a position where they do try to make it difficult for other teams to actually say, hey, we can make this transaction happen? Because to give away a one-man wrecking crew that makes all the difference, you just need to put pieces around him. I can only imagine how hard of a breakup that could potentially be.
Yeah, I don't think that they would make it hard or impossible. I think they're open to trading him. They're just not going to give him away, and they're gonna wait on the offer that they feel is worthy of him. They're not going to make anybody overpay or put him over a barrel or anything like that. But they're not going to, again, just get less than fair value for him. I mean, you're talking about an all-pro player. You're talking about one of the true game changers in the NFL. There aren't many players like that. And I've told Max this. There's two players that I've seen up close and personal that wreck practices, that wreck, OTAs, training camps, scrimmages, 7 on, whatever the case might be. It's him and Aaron Donald, and I put him in that category in terms of a game changer and somebody that could tilt the field. I feel bad for him because the world hasn't really necessarily seen that on the biggest stages, which I think is what he's hoping to get out of all of this. But yeah, you're probably talking about 2 first-round picks or a first and a second-round pick and a player. So that's probably the starting point. And I don't think, again, the Raiders are going to be unreasonable about it or make it impossible for somebody. I think they're open to making a trade. It just has to be something that they feel is fair value for the asset that you're talking about.
It has been reported as well that, or speculated but reported technically, that Maxx Crosby has said specifically that he would like to play for Mike Vrabel. Is this what you're hearing as well?
I wouldn't say specifically. I think there's probably a handful of teams that he would be good to go to. I do think that he's told people, it sounds like, that he really has a lot of respect for Mike Vrabel, and they seem to be cut out of the same cloth without question. And I could definitely see those two vibing in a major way. So that definitely makes sense. Plus, you got your young quarterback in Drake May. The future is bright. It feels like a great window has opened up for the Patriots, and it's all up, or great things from this point forward, and that's what Max wants, I would imagine, just being able to maximize the peak years that he has left. So I wouldn't say specifically the Patriots, and it's only the Patriots. I think there's a handful of teams that he would be cool with going to.
Vinny, what happened this year with the Raiders? Pete Carroll, Hall of Fame coach. It didn't work out. They're going to get the #1 pick, but I got to ask you another one here. Josh McDaniels went to the Super Bowl. How'd that go? What was the conversation about Josh McDaniels? And did Maxx Crosby and Josh did they cross over, and did they like each other? I remember the cigar thing when he got fired.
The cigar thing was after a win over the Chiefs. I never got the sense that Maxx Crosby did not like Josh. In fact, anything but. I think he has a lot of respect.
Okay.
Josh McDaniels. It was just they were in a tough position there. Once they moved on from Derek Carr, finding the next quarterback and an improvement from Derek Carr, even though Derek Carr wasn't a Super Bowl caliber quarterback, but he represented a level of play that was pretty solid. And in the time that Josh had left, they were never able to find a replacement for him, let alone an improvement from him. And that was to his demise. The same thing happened to Antonio Pierce. You could say all you want about the cigar smoking and how players loved him. If you don't have a quarterback, you have no chance. That happened last year with Pete Carroll, even though they thought it was going to be Geno Smith. That obviously didn't work. But always remember that they really wanted Ben Johnson last year, and they wanted to trade for Matthew Stafford. It got right into the red zone on both of those, but neither happened. And it kind of tells you that fine line between winning and getting fired the next year can sometimes be. This world the Raiders world would have looked a whole lot different with Ben Johnson and Matthew Stafford in the fold, but that's not what happened. Now they're on to Fernando Mendoza and yet another rebuild under Clint Kubiak. And the question now becomes, does Maxx Crosby want to be part of yet another rebuild?
All right, well, kind of to that point as well, what do you think is a good fit for Maxx Crosby? Like, what teams do you feel like are kind of making the better bid here to say we can give you what you're looking for, not only in the price point, but also in the future and the career that you're looking to close any sort of chapter with?
I think the Patriots are definitely in that mix, the Chicago Bears, but don't sleep on the Los Angeles Rams. They have 2 first-round picks this year. They are absolutely in win-now mode with Matthew Stafford. Their general manager, Les Snead, has never been hesitant to part ways with first-round picks to go try to win right now. So that's a team that I would definitely keep an eye on, especially with those 2 first-round picks that they have. But I also wouldn't rule out the Dallas Cowboys. Even though he went to school in Michigan and lived a time of his life in Michigan, he's also a Texas kid. Played high school football down in Texas. So, and the Dallas Cowboys, they're never shy about trying to make big moves. So I would say it's double digits in terms of teams that are interested in Maxx Crosby. I guess in the days ahead, and maybe this does come to a head before the end of this week, or certainly before free agency. I think that'll get whittled down to a couple, and it's who comes correct with that viable offer.
Well, we'll keep an eye on Maxx Crosby's Twitter account, I think, and what emojis he uses, and maybe we'll dissect those going forward. Well, Vinny, thank you so much for joining us here to discuss all of that. Vinny Bonsignore, the host of the Morning Tailgate on Raider Nation Radio. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Vinny.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.